I now invite the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, to deliver a keynote address.
President of the UN General Assembly, Ambassador Dennis Francis, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Your Excellencies, present here, ministers and various officials. Humanity is currently confronted with the convergence of a climate crisis, recessions, increasing conflicts in a number of places around the world, environmental degradation, rising food insecurity, deepening poverty and unacceptable levels of hunger in many countries. When the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals was agreed upon, the overarching principle was that the most vulnerable in the world would receive the support that they need. Yet at a time when solidarity was needed most, agreed international commitments have not been honored. Principles such as common but differentiated responsibilities are not being respected. 4 decades since the right to development was established by the United Nations as a human right, the failure to act on commitments to support development is deepening the drive between the global north and the global south, and is eroding trust. The Addis Ababa Action Agenda provides concrete plans for supporting development, and we once again call on various partners to support these plans. We welcome the numerous initiatives to assist the most pressing needs of countries in dire stress. These include around issues such as food shock window, resilience and sustainability trust, and the G20 Common Framework for Debt Treatment. However, sustainable and inclusive growth requires that we must do much more. We must strengthen and reform the international financial architecture, which is proving more and more to be inefficient and unable to address the challenges that many countries are going through, revolving around issues such as not being sufficiently representative and having been crafted in 1945. Developing economy countries must participate equally as well as meaningfully in the decision-making process of international economic order. The mandates of multilateral development banks must be reframed to respond to the needs of developing economies. We must assert the principle of country ownership. Multilateral development banks must support projects and programs that are aligned to the development priorities and climate commitments of developing economy countries. The international tax system must also reflect the diverse needs and capacities of both developed as well as developing country economies. More innovation is required to enable the private sector to play a great role in addressing the finance gap. This includes a new approach to blended finance with a focus on the developmental impact of investments that are effected around the world. Credit ratings of developing countries and the African economies in particular need to be based on the economic fundamentals and not on subjective assessments that are completely devoid of the realities of developing economy countries, which are largely very different from the realities that developed economy countries face. Public finance is critical for development. Developed economy countries need to fulfill their commitment to contribute official development assistance. They also need to fulfill their commitment to mobilize the $100 billion a year that they promised to tackle climate challenges. As South Africa, we therefore welcome the recommended actions contained in the Secretary General's report on our common agenda. In the interest of our common progress and the survival and prosperity of future generations, we must act now, because failure to do so will just continue to deepen the crises that many countries are facing. South Africa encourages all world leaders, global institutions, and the private sector partners to work together to address the current crises, to close the finance divide, to reduce inequality, to eradicate poverty, and to make sure that in the end no one is left behind through the actions that we will take. I thank you all.
I thank the President of the Republic of South Africa, and I now invite His Excellency Charles Michel, President of the European Council, to deliver a keynote address.